And instead of just talking about me, myself, and I, and this lump of metal, I thought it might be interesting to take a look at a different guy with a vastly different setup. So here's the thing, Jack, better known as Jack Mac, is up here doing pretty much the same thing that I am, but with a completely different setup. While I was up here the last time, I worked with car rentals, allowing me to travel around in this scenery on all the days that I had off. Jack, on the other hand, just got back from a trip to Italy and Slovenia, and as of right now he's working 7 days a week to save up to once again go back to full-time traveling. So instead of having some work at all times, he has the opportunity to go on longer travels and also visit a bunch of different countries. Ironically, I used to have an apartment about 50 meters away from the city square, and I was much more alone back then than I am now. Because the thing is, when you have your own little home in the middle of the city, it is very easy to just go back home after a day of work and just stay there. And if you take a look at the completely opposite, for example the way that I live right now, I'm somewhat forced to go out there and meet a bunch of people that I otherwise would probably never know. But being forced like that is obviously a good thing for me, because I would like to look at myself as a well-functioning introvert. And by that I mean there's this one side of me which is social and outgoing, but there's this whole different side which is basically a vagabond who just wants to watch the sunrise completely alone with no interruptions. And while this solo traveler in me wants to be exactly that, solo, I personally also find a huge interest in people with the shared love for example, cars or photography, or even just traveling and nature. And I do try to meet up with as many people as possible doing something that I find interesting. But on the other hand, I can also disappear into the mountains and just be there completely alone and enjoy my company just as much. And I don't like neither of these traits more than the other, because there's a natural switch going on and off between them. And whilst on the subject, some of the people that I've met on the road is people that I talk to on a regular basis, even though they're living in countries from all over the world. And a few days ago I met up with a guy that I've been talking to for a while on social media, but I didn't really know him until now. When Jack and I was looking for a camp spot last night, we ended up just driving further inland because all of the good spots were taken. And sometime last night we found this spot, but it is full of mosquitoes. But with that in mind, it's still a very nice spot, so we're just trying to scramble through with all the mosquitoes.
Whatever, yeah. So my name's Jack Mack, and this is my home for the last 10 years almost. It's a 1986 T3 Syncro, and obviously I've modified it over a long period of time. If you guys, I might send Casper a little photo to show you guys what it looked like when I originally bought it, because it looked very, very different. It was pretty much completely stock, but over time I've gradually upgraded it. I have poured most of my money into just the mechanicals, because that's where you should invest your time if you want to have an old van like this, but I've also obviously added accessories and stuff. Starting from the bottom, you have Old Man Emu shocks with Schwenk lift springs from America. They're actually perfectly rated for this vehicle, and they are incredible. I can't rate them enough. With the BF Goodrich tyres, Mefro steel wheels. You've got the ARB awning on the outside as well. You have some auxiliary lighting, some KC highlights on the front. They're just good in countries like Norway, where you have a lot of deer around, because there are a lot. And also, sorry if you can hear buzzing, because there's a lot of flies and mosquitoes today. Also on the outside, you have the water fill point just around here. You have shore power if I want to charge my leisure batteries. I have 220 amp hours of just old lead acid batteries, and I have 100 amp hours of lithium, just like in a Goal Zero power pack, but we'll have a look at that in a minute. The van was originally a panel van that was chopped up and everything, so I have this kind of cool little small porthole window, and I think these are actually taken out of a boat from what I've read on the sides. They leak a lot, so I don't know what boat it was on, probably the Black Pearl or something. Through here we have ARB fridge. Everything in here is pretty much secondhand. Power pack, fridge, all the furniture, I kind of sourced it on eBay, chairs, the lot. Upgraded to these captain chairs, both of which swivel. They're really tired now because I've had them for so long, but these are some of the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in any car. They're so good for long journeys. I've got 2 workstations. I've got a table that can go in either of these spots just here, so I can work at the front, and I also have a table here, which is really nice because I work full-time remote a lot of the time, so having somewhere comfortable to sit is essential. And this table also swings all the way out, which is nice if you want to cook outside. I sleep on the bottom, so I just use the top for storage. At the moment it's complete chaos because I have a load of kayaking dry bags, dry suits, paddles, that kind of stuff, extra hiking bags so that I can go out into the mountains. That's why I also have helmets here for cycling, kayaking. The Westfalia kitchen unit, again, we've been cooking and stuff in here this morning, so it's pretty messy, but Westfalia just got it right. Everyone who has these Westy interiors in their vans, everyone talks about it. They just really did a great job. So I just picked up this independent Westfalia unit. Has storage under here for your knives and forks, and there's another storage underneath that for like bigger items. I won't even show you inside of here because it looks like someone threw a hand grenade in there, but there's like coffee machine and food, dry store stuff, and I have my gas under here as well. A little drawer, useful for some smaller items. And I actually changed the roof on here to get some extra headroom, but because I'm tall, I realized that I still have... Oh, it's the wind. I was like, what is that sound? Basically, I had the high top changed to try and get some extra headroom, but it turns out that pretty much all of them are a bit too small, so I do have to kind of... If I take off my shoes, that little bit of extra thing means I can fit in my own home, which is a real luxury. There's a fan in the roof. You have some storage underneath the bench seat. I have storage above where Casper is also sitting at the moment, and that's like sort of semi-secure storage, I suppose. And there's loads of space. One of the great things about the bread loaf roof on these vans is that you do get this level high top, which means that at the front above the cab there's like tons of space for storage. Obviously lighting everywhere, all over the place, but I don't tend to use these at the moment because they come off of my lead acid battery, so I just have this little LED strip here that comes off of the Goal Zero. So basically a lot of people have their vehicles set up in such a way for overlanding where it's very clean and simple, and I do love that, but I will say that it's nice having, for example, curtains and that were made by my 95-year-old nan, and photos of my family, and and a guitar, of course, because I play guitar. So it's nice to have these things, because when you're going away for a month or so, it's very different to going away for nearly 9 months at a time, where when I come home, I want it to feel like a home. I need to feel like I completely decompress. And it's little reminders, you know, things that my little brother has made me, drawings, gifts from my parents, or, you know, just little reminders of home, basically. So that's important to me. The reason that I live in a van, and I've done this life for almost 10 years now, is because it enables me to do more of the outdoors activities that I love. So I'm an avid bike packer, sea kayaker, hiker, just general outdoors person. In fact, I think it borderlines on unhealthily obsessed. And for that reason, the van is amazing, because you can just park right inside of nature and be in the mountains almost immediately. So for example, this year, I've taken some seasonal work in Lofoten where the mountains are on your doorstep. So you're working in a place where you can just escape very easily and very quickly. And for me, that's the main reason that I live in the van, is just to be as close to nature as possible.
Where is the line between dreaming and feeling blue? It's 4 o'clock in the evening. I haven't left my room, but the truth is, if I'm honest, I feel stuck here in the middle. Am I one of those crazy people? Should I stay here, or should I let go?
After hanging out with Jack for a while, I'm now easing back into my sleep schedule, which includes sleeping about 8 hours in the middle of the day. So I'm able to stay up in the middle of the night with lighting like this. Something quite remarkable at the moment is the weather, because these islands are placed at the most exposed part of the Norwegian coastline. So there's usually at least some bad weather. But right now it's more than 20 degrees, no wind, and it's close to midnight. So tonight I'm not wearing layers to stay warm, it's just to protect my skin from all the mosquitoes. As I got back here and started doing a lot more hiking again to get to all of the most beautiful spots, I realized that all the time I spent down south has kind of put me out of shape because I don't have stuff like this in the backyard anymore. And because of that, I do have a membership at the local gym. Or, well, to be honest, I have that membership because it's open 24 hours a day and there's a shower and a sauna there, which is a very nice travel hack because there's different locations spread throughout the islands and I can basically take a shower every day. But the reason why I mentioned all of this is because this location, this weather, and these legs needs to combine into a run. I'm running a forest trail along the foot of these mountains behind me here, and it would be kind of a shame not to bring you along just to show you how good it looks up there. So let's go.